What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, and I think he's on screen. Ryan Knight is here. And good morning, Ryan Knight. How are you?
Good day, Dr. Vibe. Good to see you. Let me know if I'm coming in choppy.
You're coming in a little bit choppy.
All right, let me extract
this one. So while Ryan's getting his technical challenges taken care of, it's good morning, everybody. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, but we're here on the Morning Vibe. I'm the co-host and co-producer of this thing, and we do a lot of things here. But let me just tell you a little bit about myself. 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And since 2020, our team has reached out to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers. So we went back, so it's 400,000. So we're very happy about that. Also, I am a featured contributor and member of the advisory board of something called Indie Suit Media, which is a independent content creators network started about 3 or 4 months ago by our friend Dr. Tachi out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And they have now 34 content creators on their platform. And they have now officially over 14,000 YouTube subscribers. Yes, that is a good start. So as always, like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And what else we got going on this morning? I think, actually, we got to do some things here. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. We're getting close to about 1,500 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet and you're up to it, please subscribe to the channel. Would like to do 1,500 subscribers. Have a little celebration, maybe even a giveaway or two when we hit 1,500 subscribers. Also, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, on LinkedIn, The Dr. Vibe Show. If you'd like to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I'm a part of, please feel free to email me, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. And then finally, join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Email me, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. And we continue the conversation offline. Now, we lost Ryan, so hopefully we're going to get him back. But let's see who's here this morning. Fitness IQ Cam, good morning. Morning, everyone. Also, JJ Mars. Hey, Dr. V. Hey, JJ Mars. What's going on in Colorado? Let's get our Colorado weather report, which has become such as a Morning Vibe staple, getting the weather report from Colorado. Also, Fitness IQ Cam says, ooh, giveaway. Maybe. Well, we've got to get to that 1,500. Got to think of something to give away for that momentous event. So what's everyone up to? How was the weekend? For myself, it was fairly quiet. It was interesting. On Saturday, for those who know or don't know, I host a program called Primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala. That's Aisha K. Staggers and Laura Lala Key. And Aisha couldn't make it, so we had scheduled Dr. Tachi, who's going to be a special guest on the platform. So getting ready, about 6:15, internet goes. I'm going, no, please, no. So I'm trying all the home remedies to try to resolve it. Modem, plug in, plug out, all my connections, still not working. Call my internet service provider. They weren't familiar with they didn't know if there was a network outage or anything, and said, well, we're going to have to launch a ticket. So when you hear Lonta take a lot of times when it comes to internet service, that means it's going to be a little bit. So I'm looking. So I contact Dr. Tachi. I contacted Ryan is back. Contacted also Lala, I like to say, hey, I don't have any internet. Let's see what happens. 7 o'clock comes by, still no internet. So I give Lala a call, and she goes, "Oh no!" She's, I logged into the room, didn't see anything. I go, "Yeah, because I don't got any internet." So we were chatting about 7:30. So I say to Laura, "It's 7:35. Okay, let's forget about it." Wouldn't you know, about 2 minutes after I hang up from her, the internet service comes back up. I message her back. She says she shut down and put on her pajamas. Ah, so so for those who were tuning in, and Lala to our Discord group sent a message saying there was no show that week. We're hopefully going to do something during the midweek and then also on Saturday. Don't know, but was disappointed. But Dr. Tachi said, "Hey, you needed a break anyways." Well, I didn't take a break. Well, I did take a break, a little bit of a break. But when the internet came back up, plowed through a bunch of stuff and got a stuff off my plate that I don't have to do this week. So that was my Saturday, and yesterday was relaxing. But it was windy out there yesterday. It was windy. But Ryan is back. So Ryan, you're back with us proper now. Okay. Okay, Ryan is still having internet challenges. Okay, let's go to some comments. JJ Mars says, Colorado, hot, dry weather. Fitness IQ Cam says, busy. She was busy while you're popping.
Yeah, I'm hoping back. It seems this.
Yeah, Ryan, you're still having challenges.
Still giving trouble.
Okay, Ryan, I'm saying you should log out and maybe log back in. Yeah, he's going to do that. All right. Fitness IQ comes, oh dear, I jumped on at 7:45 and I didn't see anything. Yep. And then Fitness IQ goes, bah ha ha, with putting PJs on. All right. Well, yeah, she had her PJs on, so we didn't do a show. That's okay. That's all right. So who else is in the building? Chime in for where you're from. We'll give you a shout out. Some program alerts coming up this week on the Morning Vibe. Minnie on Cam, who was on a few weeks ago, is going to come back, and she's going to talk about the challenges of creating income when you're receiving money from services while you're disabled. So she'll be back on Friday. And then outside of that, on the Dr. Vibe show scheduled on Friday at 11 o'clock, we have the Canada's Minister for Disabilities and I can't remember her proper name. Kamal Kara. She's the Minister of Disabilities and Diversity, basically. She's going to be on for about 20 minutes talking about the new policy that the federal government has launched in regards to anti-racism. So she's going to be on 11 o'clock, but 9 o'clock, we have that. And in between, who knows? Things may pop up. Oh, so Fitness IQ says, woo, can't wait for Friday. What are you looking for on Friday? Minnie on Cam, or are you looking for Minister Kara, or both? Hey, good morning, Roger Dundas. Good morning. Lovely to hear from you. Good morning to you and the Gala King. So Wayne Harris is watching on LinkedIn. Good stuff. And Wayne, I hope you had a great weekend in regards to Jordan's celebration. I saw some pictures. I saw the video you took of him walking up, and saw the picture you took of him when he was on the stage and his big image in the back screen. So I know you and Angie are very, very proud, and right well you should be. All right, Fitness IQ Cam says she's ready for both on Friday. So yes, Minnie on Cam at 9, and then 11 o'clock, Minister Kara. And I'm going to say, especially for Minister Kara, if you have questions about anti-racism or comments about anti-racism, please either contact me beforehand, or if you are available Friday at 11 a.m., please bring them. Wayne Harris says, thanks, man. Hey, absolutely 100%. And yeah, after Friday's conversation, if you missed, and you should watch the replay, Wayne and Ray McMillan they were on fire. That was fire conversation. And that was a special moment, having them together, at least digitally together. I'm speaking now that in the near future, all three of us will be together in one place. Actually, it'd be great to get a get together with Wayne, Ray McMillan, Roger Dundas. If I'm allowed to be part of that, I'd love to have all four of us together. That would be a really good conversation. And speaking of Ray McMillan, the McMillan Group is on. Good morning, McMillan Group. Hope all is good. Okay, Ryan, are you with us again?
You let me know. Am I with you?
You're better than you were before.
Okay.
Yeah, you're better. How you do? Well, you might as well introduce yourself and let's catch up for a bit before we go to break. And we've got a great conversation topic for the Morning Vibe family this morning. What's going on in your world?
Yes, as you've forgotten who I was since I came back earlier today. My name is Ryan Knight, one of the co-founders of the Afro Caribbean Business Network. We support entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage really to figure out what stage their business is in, then help them create a strategy to grow. I am also an entrepreneur. My company is called Detailing Nights. So we provide mobile waterless car cleaning. So we go to people's houses or their offices, clean their cars on the spot without water. And we've been enjoying the heat, although it is heavy, but rather the sun than the cold. So we'll take the heat any day. But yeah, sorry about the choppiness. Hopefully
it's better now. You're good now. You're good now. No worries. Let's get to some more comments before I ask you a few more. Wayne Harris says, moving over to YouTube to be part of the main audience. Thank you, Wayne. Good morning, Opal Inspired. Make sure you check out all her artistic creations on her YouTube channel. And then Fitness IQ Cam says, welcome to the YouTube posse, Wayne. Okay. And Wayne Harris says, thanks, Fitness IQ Cam. Good stuff. So what have you been up to? Well, actually, Ron, you were at Collision last week. I saw the photos. What was Collision like?
Yeah, I thought it's a lot, but because I only went the one day, I feel like you just kind of immerse yourself to see as much as you can, because with Collision, there's presentations happening, and then there's also like entrepreneurs and vendors that you can go see. So the presentations, I didn't go to see too many of the talks, but I did get to go and talk to a lot of the entrepreneurs. And I would say there could have been 1,000 entrepreneur booths. So getting to go and talk and see which ones are interesting, how people are using AI. I think AI was incorporated into about 80% of the booths that I did see. And of course, getting to bump into colleagues ranging from Crystal's Cox, who started a platform for beauty. So it's like not a marketplace, but like a matchmaker for people looking for beauty stylists. So that was cool to see him set up. People that I haven't seen in over a decade, a gentleman, Kevin Mercer, who runs a company called Rain Grid. I got to see him at Collision, and we were part of a Mars Discovery District cohort called Impact 8 back in 2013. So seeing that his company and my company are still going. I know Lucky Iron Fish was part of that cohort. They're still operating. But beyond that, there was the Black Innovation Zone, which was put on by Nobellum and I believe BFN and BEA, so the Black Founders Network and the Black Entrepreneurs Alliance. So got to say hi to Dahabo, who's the executive director of the Black North Initiative. So she had just finished speaking when I got there to kind of see what the Black Innovation Zone was doing, said hello. But beyond that, a lot. I took, I think, about 55 pictures of businesses that were interesting that I want to follow up with. So I've been kind of going through the follow-up process with those. But yeah, have you ever been to Collision before?
No.
Okay.
It's interesting. I spoke to some people. I have an associate that went down there, and she goes to a lot of conferences. She wasn't that impressed.
So what was she expecting?
Well, she thought about the presentations. Speaker, she's been to a number of conferences. She said they were average. And also a comment I heard from a number of different people, it's expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I know for myself, being part of one of the investor networks, we got complimentary tickets from Collision to go there as investors. So it's interesting because my badge said investor on it. So it's almost like you have a target on your back because people, especially the entrepreneurs that are there wanting to pitch to investors, if they see that you do have that investor badge, they want to pitch you on the spot. So, but very respectful people coming up to me and saying like, hey, I'd love to let you know about my business, and hearing the different ideas. Some very, very excellent ideas are out there. One issue is people aren't really sure if they need venture investment, or I'd say angel investment, or debt. And I know with our investment fund, we do debt financing. So typically debt is not ideal for tech type companies. And I would say Collision is more focused on tech startups. But a few of them, we definitely were able to brainstorm some ideas on how they can get capital. So it was great conversations. But that's where, yeah, I didn't really see any topics that I had to go and hear about. It was more getting to just talk to the other entrepreneurs I really liked.
Well, this is interesting. And oh, look who is in the house today. Michael Couteau.
Hey, good day. Was Mr. Couteau at Collision? I'm curious if Black Caucus went down for the Black Innovation Zone.
Don't know, but good to have you, Michael. As always, hope you and the family are fine and safe. Yeah, I heard mixed things about Collision. And actually, I hear now next year it's in Vancouver, so it's not in Toronto.
Right. Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how much Black Canadian input is going to be at it when it's in Vancouver.
Well, the Black Business Association of BC is out there. BEBC with Jackie Cassidy is out there as well. And speaking of BEBC, I saw Perry Douglas did an article or a LinkedIn post about a Globe and Mail article that was done about BEBC and their procurement program, really trying to, I guess, hammer home the point that nonprofits should not be in charge of supporting for-profits. Not sure if I fully co-sign, but I could definitely see the angle he's coming from. But the article is behind a paywall, so I didn't get to read the whole thing. But hey,
ongoing conversation. Now, Michael Couteau says he was not at Collision. He said no, he had house duty. And he said he was invited to speak, but he had to be in Parliament, so that he was not at Collision. All right, good stuff. So what else has been going on? We're gonna take a break in a moment. Anything else going on in your world?
Just really quickly, did I totally miss what happened with Drake and Kendrick Lamar? Like,
oh man, oh my God,
this guy is still going off about this stuff. I thought that was done. Like, am I missing something?
Okay, so interesting perspective, and it's a very good experience. There's a very good perspective that I want to put out there. So what we would say when you have beef, there are different ways that you can handle it. You
True.
can, but and sometimes beef can lead to profit, because as you can see, there's a lot of exposure Kendrick's got on this, and Drake, but more Kendrick. And I think he did a conference he did a show the other day, and all these people like Snoop Dogg, all this were all on
Dre, like
Dr. Dre
came out about it.
So he's made money from this, his increased exposure. But I think it would be really neat. You know, it'd be the real genius idea if they collaborate on a song together.
I don't know if that can't happen again.
Well, but
the same thing about Jay-Z and Nas, and
right
now it's kind of like that's fizzled, and they could work together.
Never, you never. I think the other big story, and we have to go to break soon, probably, is the whole thing about. And how many people have heard this story about Swiss Beats and Timberland now have full control of Versus, and they've signed an exclusive distribution deal with X, which is owned by Elon Musk.
Ah, gotcha. They have to be careful not to say anything about Elon. That'll get canceled.
Well, so there's been some pushback in the Black environment, especially Roland Martin from the U.S. saying, says, why are you guys going to put your content on a network that's owned by a gentleman who's anti-DEI, who made statements saying that Black people aren't intelligent, et cetera, et cetera. So it's and it was interesting because I was reading an article And Swiss, like, people are posting on X, and people are saying, like, why are you doing this deal? And Swiss B says, oh, well, you're on X.
But this is the power of distribution, because remember, you always say that distribution is the emperor, but content is king, but distribution is the emperor.
Correct.
When you have a platform like X, that allows you to make these types of deals. Like, they're not going to X just because they like the platform. That's where a lot of eyeballs are. And once there are eyeballs, you're able, like, if they want to get their stuff out to, I would say, the mass audience, it's one of the top choices. Now, this is where we say, hey, it's business. It's not about my emotions. I've never heard Timbaland or Swiss Beats views on DEI. Are they, like, heavy into that space that Elon Musk having those views would, mess with their values? If that's not something that is high priority to them, hey, getting this type of deal is going to be good money. It's going to be good exposure. You can see where they make a business deal and decide that route.
I think it also leads, I think we need to have another Morning Vibe family discussion, business versus culture, because you always hear this term, for the culture. I get very scared when I hear for the culture. Whose culture?
Yes,
right? Because a few years ago, BET had their tagline, for the culture. Okay, it's for the culture, but it's owned by a non-melanated family. But I think it'd be a good conversation, the business versus culture, right? So let me put it out there to the family that's watching here. Do you agree with Swiss Beats and Timbaland having that exclusive deal with Elon Musk, who is anti-DEI, has had allows racist comments on his platform? What are your thoughts? So we're going to go on a break. We're going to come back, and I think it's related to the conversation topic we're going to have today. But I'd love to get your thoughts on that, because it's been a hot debate over the last few days. I've heard people pro who say, no, they shouldn't have done that deal. Here other people say, hey, it's business.
Right.
So, okay, before we get on to the break, Finance IQ says, I went to Obsidy instead of Collision. So how was Obsidy? We'd like to hear. Shirley says, good morning, everybody. And then Fitness IQ says, at least he managed to have Bloods and Crips together. Who managed?
Kendrick Lamar's concerts.
Yeah. So there you go. So really, you missed out on the Kendrick and Drake thing?
Because I started hearing the back and forth, but I thought I had missed it. It was like months ago. And now I'm seeing this concert happening, and he's playing that Not Like Us song over and over.
And there's a commentator that I listened to. He says, maybe people like us should use that as an anthem. Not like us. Be careful. Don't align with people because they're not like us. Using that as an anthem. Right. Not like us. Not like us as an anthem. So, all right, family, we're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna come back in. Ryan has to leave at the top of the hour, so we got to get as much in as we can. So we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be back in a few moments with a good morning family conversation topic. Here we go.
Hello, everybody. My name is Paige. I am a marketing consultant and the host of More Than a Mom, the podcast. I am here at the Soundwave Summit, and I had the pleasure of speaking with Dr. Vibe, and the gems he dropped were unmatched. An accidental conversation really changed my whole plan. And if I had him 3 years ago when I started my consulting career, it would have made a major change. The biggest thing that I learned that I'm taking with me is understanding that I do not have a show, I have a solution. And I think that's something that's not talked about enough. Another thing that really adjusted my mindset was the power of positive language. I was telling him about some of my problems are asking for help. I'm always pouring into other people, but it's hard, and it's a problem that I can't get that same thing in return. And he said, it's not a problem. It's something that, what did you say? Not a problem. You said, oh, it's a challenge. It's something that's a challenge for me. And that simple adjustment of language, I went away to lunch and I called 4 people and I'm like, hey friends, We need to change our energy. We need to change our outlook. We are solution-driven people. We do not need to do things the way society tells us to do things. This checklist that we feel like we need to fall under, this 10-minute conversation we had, it changed up everything. So I'm so thankful for the gems. I feel like I'm going to go back and make a whole new to-do list that's based on how I need to do things, a different way of looking at things, and I'm just so thankful. So thank you, Dr. Vibe.
All right, we're back. Paige from More Than a Mom podcast. Thank you for the kind words.
Mhm.
All right, let's see if there are any more. Let's see. Michael Couteau is still here. He said, Kendrick has united the West. Difficult to do. All right, we didn't know you're a hip hop.
So is it West versus North now? Is that like how they're describing this beef?
Roger says, I think the losers in the Kendrick Drake beef are women. The disrespect level using women to insult each other was unnecessary. Woo, interest. You know, maybe we should. I don't know. Maybe we should roll. Maybe we should roll with this topic today because it looks like people have to say stuff about this. But look, thank you again, everyone, with all the comments is coming in. All right, we're gonna have a good conversation topic today, so we're gonna bring it on. So we're gonna be talking today about how can our community mobilize towards self-determination.
Yes.
So, Ryan, what does self-determination mean to you personally? And what do you think it means for the Black community as a whole?
Oh boy. So personally, it's tricky because you always need help. And when we talk about self-determination, it's being able to do for self. Yet in order to do for self, there's so many moving pieces. So that's why I feel like I lean a lot to collaboration, because even when, you know, like, for example, we talk about nonprofits and needing to be sustainable. So they should start social enterprises so that they can be self-determinate. But in order to start that business, you need so much support. So I feel a lot of people use the term self-determination and figure, oh, that means I have to be selfish, focus on myself, only figure out how to grow like my business or become successful, and then I can help the community. But I don't feel it has to be if that or like one way or the other, where it's only selfish instead of still collaborating. So yeah, I'm torn between using that word of self-determination, because now does that cause people to become more, I don't want to say selfish, but it's like you just focus on either yourself or your own family instead of thinking of the community. So then that's where we talk about the community. I like it better because a community that's like has self-determination now doesn't rely on outside support, and we can do for ourselves. And it actually brings us to what was happening with our Versus, because now could we have supported that I guess it's a show without the need of external distribution? Like, could it have played on Roland Martin's platform? Could it have played on Tidal or something that is owned by the Black community, instead of having to now amplify it using help from outside the community? Yeah, I would love to see how the community could be self-determinate, but I don't know if the infrastructure is there to do it all on our own just yet. How about yourself?
Okay, before we get there, Finance IQ Cam says, agrees with Roger's comment about the saying true, Roger. And Hayden, what's going morning, Hayden? What's up? He says, quote, it's just business, unquote. He says, so was slavery. Whoa, coming in hard already. That's good. That's good. In regards to self-determination, I think for me, I try to keep things as simple as possible. I think when I hear self-determination, I think of doing what you want, when you want, who you want to do it with.
Mm-hmm.
That's self-determination. And to me, it's, and the mobilization, I think a lot of this too has to do with mindset, because I know we always hear and we always chat on this platform, and I always hear it all the time. There's always this challenge. I just got out of a meeting this morning, working together. Right. I think we realize many of us realize there's a point where we can't do it on our own. So we have to have this, got to think the long game, not the short game.
Absolutely.
You know, the self-determination for me means when I want, who I want to do it with. Because with freedom, more freedom you have, the more choices you have.
Absolutely. But that's where, like, to build that freedom, it typically takes collaboration to get your money to a point where you can now, you know, be self-determined.
Like, and even so, one of the richest, we talked about him earlier, Elon Musk, one of the richest people in the world.
Right.
He didn't buy Twitter with his own money. He had part of his money. He had other people, like I know Saudi Arabian people were involved in this deal. So, but he gets to decide a lot. Like he just got what's a remuneration of, oh, is it 35 or 40? Is it million or $1 trillion? I don't know, but it is. But he's got that determination. Here's a question. Oh, well, here's a comment. Macmillan Group Ray says, agreed, Ryan, but isn't family the first community and everything else grows from there?
I 100% agree, because I find it's tough, because if you go introspective and say, okay, I'm going to focus on family first, I hope it's not at it's like at the, I'll say, detriment of those around you. It's like, I am not going to engage with other families because I need to focus on my family. When you're trying to decide, okay, am I going to support others and my family is not good, then I 100% agree. It's like, no, my family has to be good first in order for me to then support external. And I find that might be where we tend to spread ourselves too thin, because especially with the nonprofits that I see the community start, it's like we're always doing or trying to do for the community before our house is in order and we're financially good. So I would see the family as that first community. I would see, and then yourself in that family has to be good. So you have to be able to take care of yourself, but not at, I would say, the detriment of the rest of the community, to say, I'm not going to even engage because I'm only focused on myself. And especially when your family is good and you are doing well, you see a lot of well-to-do people in our community that just say, well, I'm doing fine, so I'm going to go off and just live my life and do whatever I want and not think about the community. So they have that real disconnection there. I feel that's where it goes to the extreme. You're just like, I'm only focused on myself and I'll only do things that support me and my family without thinking of the community at all.
Good takes. Fitness IQ goes, woo, Hayton. She loves Hayton's comment. Also, the Macmillan Group comes in. The challenge may be, as mainly migrants to Canada, many of us have lost a sense of community because of isolation from family.
Right.
Good point. I think also in regards to this conversation topic is that there's so many different, do people want self-determination? Do we have the tools right now to get to self-determination? And also another factor, we can look historically. There have been examples like in the United States, Black Wall Street established self-determination at its best and finest. What happened to it? It got destroyed.
Right. And then did that now cause fear to not try to do it again? Because would we feel that we're in a better time where if we were to build something like that again, it wouldn't get bombed and it wouldn't get attacked and burnt down? But the fact that that happened, it now causes us not to even want to try to do something like that again. And there have been pockets of similar things happening, but Wayne Harris came on and talked about it happening in Montreal, where they created a highway to go through a Black community to disrupt it. And that was the end result of Tulsa, where when they did try to start building it back, the government built a highway right through it to really disrupt the community. So would things like that happen again? The fact that it happened in such a recent time, as Mr. Harris talks about it, would put fear in people to not want to try that again and say, like, man, if we're going to try and do for self, the government could be against us, or big special interest groups are against us. It's difficult to battle that, and that's where you can't only think of yourself, because we can't build something on that scale on our own. Yet we've seen like collaboration, community efforts get destroyed. It does put something in the back of your mind, like, man, that's something you're going to put a lot of effort into, and it can just be taken away like that. It makes people shy away from it.
Trauma. All right. I missed out on this comment earlier on. Shirley, good to see you. Shirley Josma is here saying, good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Good to see you. Also, we have a comment. Minion Cam says, Black billionaires, are they just quiet? YouTube has a few documentaries and interviews of those people. And actually, just recently, too, there was a but here's the crazy thing: remaining survivors of the Tulsa, what am I saying? Black Wall Street destruction. There was a group of people who launched a remuneration for the destruction of that, and the Supreme Court of that state knocked it down. Said they're not valid with their case, because they wanted reparations for being destroyed.
Right.
So I think one of the concerns too is that, again, this, what you just said, some people who look like us also have that mindset against other people who look like them, working together. So that factor of, oh, if we build it, will it get destroyed? And also, okay, we don't even want to do it with each other. We're not even got to, in some ways, we haven't got to that point yet. There are people out there who want to collaborate, but is the mindset there for the long game?
Well, and that's where we have to think about, what are we dependent on? There are so many entities that we're dependent on that I don't think we ever really analyzed. And I'll use financial as an example. Our dependency on the current banking system is like so entrenched in all aspects of our lives, yet it's something that we don't really push back on. It's like, my paycheck goes into an institution that is not controlled at all by the Black community. So money that we're getting is actually flowing through our hands immediately into an entity that we don't own. And now that entity can leverage our money to make infinity interest on it. Yet, if we were able to put together our own infrastructure and have our own bank or credit union, now money that flows into our household would be housed in our own bank that we are leveraging to support the community. And this is what happened with the Pan-African Credit Union. We realized we're trying to put that together, yet the government at the same time put almost $400 million into circulation. And if you use Face as an example, they got $30 million. Where is that money housed? Like, all this money that was for Black community, where did it actually get housed? And now, who is actually leveraging that money? 30 million, half of it could have been used to start the credit union. And now the 100 million that went to ecosystem partners could have been deposited at that credit union. And that credit union now could leverage it to do loans to the community. It's like, it would have created Face without needing a government-run Face entity if we actually controlled the infrastructure. So the fact that we don't have that now is showing how much we're still reliant on the current system, and we haven't figured out a way to become self-determinant for our own community. And that's just one example. If we talk about children's aid, if we talk about the police, if we talk about health and not having a hospital, talk about education and not having our own school board, and I'd say enough schools to teach ourselves, there's so much that we're dependent on that we actually don't even push back on. Self-determinant is a conversation that we should be talking about at some sort of community meeting, whether
regularly,
it's monthly, on the regular, to say, how do we wean ourselves off of the dependency that is not serving us, you know?
All right. just to catch up here, my PSW Plus says, "Good morning, ladies and gentlemen." They're watching on Ryan's LinkedIn page.
Ooh,
Wayne Harris, and I'm going to put it out here. If anyone wants to come in live via camera, tell me. And what I'll do is I'll send you I'll send you my email address. Email me, and I can send you the link to join in, because love to get some people's input on this. Wayne Harris says, when you're on an airplane and the cabin loses pressure, they say when the mask dropping from the ceiling, you need to put yours on first. Same thing with stabilizing your family income before. Good morning, Dr. Tachi, the drive of Indie Soup Media. Good to see you as always. Mignon says, you just need to get Black billionaire Sheila Johnson on the show. I don't never heard of her.
Send a message.
Okay. And Wayne Harris says you try to do it for anyone else. And also together
before you try to do it for anyone else.
Yeah, together has less to do with melanin and more about values and mindset. Okay, Roger Dundas chimes in, says Black Canadian nonprofits are not self-determinant. Aside from the BOF, which other charity does not rely on the federal government to operate?
I wouldn't be able to name any, except the ones that don't get any money. So Louis March, he says that he doesn't get government funding. So, but he also says he's not a nonprofit organization. It's a movement. So I don't know if that counts. But there are people that do community work that are not funded by the government.
Yeah, it's interesting. Then let me ask you, and this is for everybody on here too. Question: what role does economic empowerment play in achieving self-determination for the Black community?
Well, isn't that the missing piece? Because
I think it's one of the missing pieces. I don't think it is the missing piece. I think the mindset of wanting to work together is also part of the missing piece also, because if the money all flowed out there, would we work together?
If the only way we became successful is through collaboration, then it would be ingrained. But we're able to be successful without having to really collaborate with our community. So when a person becomes successful and the community didn't really help them get there, there's nothing really tying them to reach back and say, okay, I'm going to come back and support, because there was nothing that, like, for example, there's nothing that we did to help that person get to where they are. It's like they now have to just, out the goodness of their heart, come back. And Minnie on Cam is talking about this billionaire. How much of us helped her get there? Like, if we didn't do much, now it's her kindness of her heart to say, you know what, I'm looking and seeing what's wrong with the community and I want to help. Same with Robert F. Smith. I don't know how much of the Black community helped him get to where he got to with Vista, but he looked back and said, okay, I'm seeing some things I can help with, and he's been supportive. But if we actually were one of the stepping stones to help him get to where he is, that connect. And I guess with what, because he went to Howard, and so being part of an HBCU, that's where he supported, because Howard actually helped him in whatever way you can say, get to where he is. So he felt, I don't know if he felt obligated, but you can see that's where he's going to support, because they actually helped him get to where he is. We have to do a better job of helping people in our community become economically empowered, so that they feel connected to the community and want to support and get other people up to their level. There's so many examples of really rich and wealthy Black individuals that do not teach others how they got to where they are. They'll tell stories about how successful they are. They'll write books about it. They'll tell their story, but they won't give a blueprint to help others actually duplicate it.
So where the part of the conversation we're chatting about today is, what role does economic empowerment play in achieving self-determination for the Black community? So I thought about putting different questions while we're talking about them up on the screen so people can chime in and give their take on it. Our general conversation topic today is, how can our community mobilize towards self-determination? So we got some more I knew the comments are going to start coming in here. So first off, we've got Roger Dundas asking, so it begs the question, why are we not able to have the Black Canadian community fund all these nonprofits?
So doesn't that come back to the economic empowerment question? How many? First, there's too many nonprofits, so the community could not fund them all. But even if we selected a key few, what is the Black community's rate of philanthropy? How many people are in position to donate to a nonprofit so that the nonprofit would be operationally sustainable? That mindset of even giving, like donating, we donate more to the church than to nonprofits. And I mean, the church is technically a nonprofit or a charity, but the church doesn't have a mandate to like build economic empowerment in the community. So if we're looking at building economic empowerment and there's certain nonprofits that can do that, we don't have that same relationship with those nonprofits as we do with the church to donate enough to make sure that those nonprofits can be sustainable. So, and if you listen to people like Perry Douglas, he doesn't actually believe that we should be donating to these nonprofits. So now that mindset of people in the community that don't feel that nonprofits have a role, and then there's those that do feel the nonprofits have a role, but they don't have enough money to donate to make these nonprofits sustainable. One of the other has to change. Either those with money need to believe in what nonprofits can do and put money there instead of other nonprofits that don't serve the Black community, or those that believe in what nonprofits can do need to make more money so that their contributions would help nonprofits be sustainable. Right now, both of those two things are broken, so nonprofits cannot be sustainable based only on the Black community donating to it.
All right. So Minnie on Cam says Sheila Johnson co-owned BET. JG Marr says, in America, he's in Colorado, the Nation of Islam had some good economic tenets to live by. It worked for a while, but too many people abandoned it. Yeah, the Nation of Islam made people, but they're a very tight organization and they're all about self-sustained. Minnie on Cam says, if there is a blueprint, does not mean they will use it. JG Marr says, by the way, I'm Christian, not Muslim. No problem. Right. Dr. Tachi says, the financial aspect is critically important. However, knowing what to do and how best to utilize the finances is key before money even becomes established. You need to contact. Well, go ahead.
So one with Minnie on Cam saying, if there was a blueprint, would people use it? We can't even make that rhetorical question because there is no blueprint. So why not have a blueprint? Like, if that's the excuse that rich people would use, it's like, oh well, if I put all of the templates to get to where I am, but nobody's going to use it, so why would I do that? That is a flawed argument. Like, no, if you want to see the community get to your level, help us with the blueprint. And then if we don't use the blueprint, then it's on us. But if a person has the expertise and they choose not to create a blueprint to help others get there, then it's on that person. And whatever way you became successful and are now well off, the eyes are going to be on you if you're not helping others also come up. And it also, I mean, when we look at successful Black people and you look at their companies and who's actually benefiting, a lot of times it isn't Black people. And so if that is the way that you're building your company and not even employing from the Black community, that is a problem. And then to what Dr. Tachi was saying, sorry, can you put it up again? Because I touched on Minnie first.
Well, Dr. Tachi's comment, the financial aspect is critically important. However, knowing what to do and how to best utilize the finances is key before money ever becomes established.
Absolutely. So this is where having the money is needed to be able to support the work, but not enough people have the money.
Okay, but here's an interesting conversation point. say every Black North American got $100,000.
All right.
Do you feel that? What do you feel most of them would use it wisely?
Well, Cadillac would probably become the most successful company. But David Chappelle already did a skit about this when they paid out reparations, and the way that money was spent was consumerism. And Wayne Harris talks about this too. We're so focused on buying things that make
programmed,
indoctrinated, program. So how we spend money now would just get amplified. It wouldn't, like, we don't have a plan to say if everybody got 100,000, what could we collectively do to move our community forward? So instead, we would just do what we normally do, no matter what money. If it's 100,000, a million, we're just gonna spend it on what we feel is right. But if the criteria of getting that 100,000 was that there had to be a plan in place to say what we're actually going to use it on, then I would say no, we wouldn't be consumerism. We would follow a blueprint and say, hey, part of these reparations that we're getting, we've all decided on what we're going to use a portion of that money collectively to get done. Whether it's building a hospital, building a school, building a bank, all those infrastructure pieces, I feel we could create a strategy to use that money collectively. And again, people can still buy their Air Jordans. Like, nobody is saying you can't buy stuff, but just like Dr. Tachi said, there needs to be a strategy. Like, we have to say, this is what we're going to do collectively with money that we get. But right now, there is no strategy. So that's why it takes these conversations, and it should be ongoing, whether it's a forum or just talking about wealth, talking about money, ongoing, so that we can make a strategy for how we use money collectively.
Well, a few things. Ryan has to leave in a few minutes, but I'm going to be continuing it on solo, but I'm going to be putting questions up for people to provide some takes on. I think that we need to do this on a regular basis, this question, and invite people. Some of the people who are commenting here today, I would like to invite you to give your takes on this, because it's not a me thing, it's not a Ryan thing, it's a we thing. So let's get back to some comments. Minnie on Cam says, you need to contact Prosper Canada to find out how much of their stats are race-based. She also says, typically Canada does not track race-based progress in anything. True. But what's his name is now doing it? Dr. Pierre?
Right. With
Pierre
firm, yeah.
Doing that. Also, Wayne Harris, and actually Repowernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson. Ironic you mentioned that. In the conversation I was in before this one, I mentioned that book, and one of the people said that the manifesto is as good or better a document than Powernomics. So it was interesting. Roger Dundas says that, well, the Black Manifesto, written by what your friend's name again?
Errol Gibbs.
Errol Gibbs. All right. Roger Dundas says creating wealth and legacy is not the job of nonprofit organizations. Minion Camp says we only started to track Black stats because people are demanding anti-Black policies. I don't 100%. I think I know what you're saying, but could be worded better. The Macmillan Group goes,
yes.
Oh, you want to say something on that?
I'll get to Roger in a second.
Okay. The Macmillan Group says, I don't think there's a blueprint let me slow down. I don't think there's a blueprint to successful. The path is different for everyone. What should be shared are the challenges, not the successes. Dr. Tachi says, oh boy, you guys, okay, so we have to do a part two because Ryan, okay, you know what? This is what I want to do. I want to invite Roger and a few other people. We talk about this one together because Ryan seems to have some pushback. All right, so let's get back. So Dr. Tachi says, to be honest, there are multiple blueprints that exist out there. People have written numerous books on how to do something. The issue is there's no one size fits all solutions. Wayne Harris says, Tangerine, Simply, and other online platforms have proven virtual banks can work. What about a virtual credit union? And then Well,
Yes,
the
yes.
comments are coming like crazy. You're causing controversy there, Ryan. Minion Camp says people that sell online courses track who is using their courses, and most of them buy and don't open it. Udemy is one of the online course programs. It should be 80-20 principle. For what? That doesn't tell me a lot. Dr. Tachi, I'm trying to get through all these comments before Ryan has to leave. Dr. Tachi, if every melanated North American received $100,000, some would know what to do with it right away in order to multiply for it to multiply. Others that operate from a colonized mindset would still, Dr. Chachi said, spend that money on things that don't benefit the community. Mignon Camp says they know those stats from where CERB was given out. Frequency of brand promotions, you're late to the party, but good day, Doc, to you also. Dr. Chachi says corrects colonized mindset. Mignon Camp says they know the stats, the short-lived basic income pylon that Doug Ford cut, that he is being sued for cutting it early right now. Okay. Roger Dundas says you need Perry Douglas on for this topic. I will reach out to Perry on this. Hey, I want to get a group of people. JG Mars says working together and trusting each other would be a good foundation to build on. That's what I'm saying. I'm not even talking about money. I'm not even talking about the money. That part has to. Roger Dundas says virtual credit union is a great idea, Wayne Harris. The Macmillan Group. The question is, we have to ask ourselves, why has the population's social economic status declined over the past 4 or 5 decades? Facts. Understanding that will help the ability to move forward. So I've caught up with all the comments. I know, Ryan, you've got to go. So what do you want to talk about? Because you're pushing back on some people, I can see.
I remember what Roger Dundas said, and he said the path, and if you can bring up about the nonprofits, one thing that we realize, and this touches on what Ray said as well.
This one here?
Right. Creating wealth and legacy is not the job of nonprofit organizations. Whose job is it? Because if there's no one there to teach that, there needs to be an entity to teach it. If you personally are not wealthy and are in process of building your legacy, you need a guide. You need somebody to get you there. And I'm not saying that a nonprofit exists that can do it, but a nonprofit could exist that could do it. We have not seen the best nonprofit yet, like something that takes into account what is actually needed. And if it needs to be housed in a nonprofit to get the message to people to actually get it done properly, then that's the vehicle. If it's in a school, then it's in a school. If it's in a church, it's in a church. But the fact that we need to build wealth and the fact that we want to build a legacy is needed. So there needs to be a vehicle to teach people how to do it. We can't just rely on ourselves to figure it out. That does not work. No community has sat around and just figured it out on their own. There was either somebody that figured it out and had a strategy, and then they taught their family, and then they taught the community, and then they built up an entire civilization around principles that help to build wealth. This is not something that one person can just figure out on their own and then fix everything overnight for the Black community. And this is where what Ray was saying that I do not agree with is, yes, there can be blueprints. That is what a franchise is. A franchise is a person that figured out a company that works, put that information into a system or a business in a box, sells it to somebody else, and they can run that system absent of the initial founder on their own and be successful. Anybody's experience, and Ray did that for us. I would say he's one of the co-founders of ACBN, and he helped to show what path we could take about collaboration. Yes, it was his own personal experience, and he didn't write it down in a blueprint and say, here's a checklist. But if he did, it would have been easier for other organizations to say, you know what, here's a checklist of how we can collaborate. And I feel the Black entrepreneurship ecosystem would be a lot further along if there was something like that written down from an elder that has gone through this path. Like, we can't always be starting from scratch. Like, if people that know better don't support those that don't know any better. We're always going to be starting from scratch and trying to figure it out. And nonprofits and the entire conversation will be useless because we're always starting from zero. We have to be able to build some sort of foundation. All these elders in our community, we have to gather their intellect and put it into something that can help the next. And I'm not saying the next like in the future. I'm saying the next like right now. There's elders that are alive that we can talk to, that we can start documenting what worked and what didn't, and then use that blueprint and execute it now. Like we don't have to wait for our youth to figure it out in the future. Right now, we should be able to talk to elders, have these conversations. We need to document it and then start to put together a strategy that we can use going forward. There's lots of books written, but not many books are written to empower the Black community. They're written to tell the story of a person, let's say, that was successful, but it's typically not written with the purpose of helping the Black community figure out how to move forward in a positive way. Powernomics, sure. The Black Empowerment Manifesto, yes. But these are things that are in the minority. The majority of books are typically written so that that person that wrote it can get their story out. And if there's other books that are written to help with empowering the Black community, we need that list. What is the list of mandatory reading for building wealth in the Black community? If we get that list, we should have that on a website somewhere. And when we talk to people, it's like, have you read these books yet? If you haven't read these books, then you're not serious about helping the Black community. And that should become, and that's where I'm talking about a school, because a school, there's schools that are designed to teach leaders and teach the next crop of individuals that are going to propel the community forward. That school, I haven't seen it in the Black community. If it exists, please let me know where it is so we can go support them. But right now, I haven't seen it exist. And I apologize, I have to run. But
you're a bad tease, because you know how many comments are come up now because of your sermon right there, your podium thing. There's so, and he leaves. So
I have to hear the comments at least. And
okay, all right, you're gonna hear the comments, but I put it out there. If anyone wants to jump into the conversation, please just put it in the comments. I want to jump in. Give you my email address. We can have you jump in. Obviously, this is something we're going to have to continue. And I'd also like to know, would anyone like to be part of the next conversation on this? How can we mobilize towards self-determination?
Absolutely.
I think this is maybe a monthly conversation, bring in rotating guests or whatever. That'd be great. Okay. So Minion Cam says, Wayne Harris, there is a first online credit union, the first Ontario online credit union. Next up, she's okay. Next up, she goes, there are online credit unions. People don't search for them.
He mentioned a few of them. It was that, is there a Black owned online?
We don't know about that.
And could that be an easier way?
Okay, next up. Dr. Tachi says, I think people have nonprofit fatigue. I think that's true. There are 10 million nonprofit organizations for them to collaborate. Already, some of them replicate the same solutions. How about collaborating? Here's a question maybe you can answer. Curious, does anyone know the status of PACU?
I know they had to redo their application because of the interest rate changes. So their application is into FISRA. They're just waiting for the conditional approval, is the last that I heard.
Okay.
So still in process.
Okay. Roger Dundas says, we have successful Black Canadian financial mentors who can provide guidance. I think it's hard for an organization on not making a profit to guide someone on how to make a profit. Okay. Ray McMillan says, so why do many franchises fail? Minion Cam says
90% success rate. So I'm not sure where you get that stat.
Ray's got to come on with Ryan. Okay,
90% success rate versus entrepreneurs that do not buy franchises, where it's a 90% fail rate. So we can definitely dig in and get the actual stats for that so that we can compare.
The Macmillan Group, I mean, Mignon Cam says the Macmillan Group mortgages and real estate, it's the people managing them that fail. Frequency of event promotions goes producer versus consumer. Macmillan Group says the difference is you and the team were prepared to listen. I will leave the rest of my comments for a private conversation. And then Mignon Cam recommends a book, Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, which I actually read, and many, many years ago I met Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. So
nice.
That's it. Ryan, before you exit, anything you want to leave with?
No, I'm going to be listening in because I love this conversation. And definitely if we can do this ongoing and get other experts, other people that, hey, it's just my opinion, but I've seen a lot of our attempts to collaborate. And Ray hit the nail on the head. We have to be ready to listen and humble ourselves to work with others. If everybody comes into the room and only feels that our idea is the best and it doesn't matter what else I hear, we will never move forward, because then the best ideas actually don't win. We have to figure out how to get into a room, contribute our ideas, and then be able to select the best idea, the best strategy, and whoever's ideas were not selected, them not run off and say, well, I'm just going to go do my idea on my own. It's like, no, let's execute the best strategy. And then we come back and analyze it and say what worked, what didn't, what needs to be adjusted. And we rinse and repeat. We will keep moving forward if we're able to analyze what we do and not be so emotional about it if what we say isn't accepted or ideas aren't executed, or if somebody critiques what we're doing. I feel like we don't even allow ourselves grace to critique what we're doing. And what Dr. Tachi said, there's 10 million nonprofits, and none of them want to hear anything about how bad they're doing. Like, there's no space to talk to a nonprofit leader and say, you know what you're doing actually isn't working. Just like Roger Dundas is saying, they won't listen. And when they do, like when you do tell them, then they get defensive and want to write you off and get blacklisted, or just it doesn't go well when we try to critique ourselves. So if we can get better at that, and like Ray said, if we're willing to listen and humble ourselves, that is like the number one high priority, is for us to even define collaboration. What does it even mean? And if we need to go to therapy, if I need to go to therapy in order to collaborate with people, perhaps I need to put up my hand and say, let me go to therapy first so that I can work on whatever trauma or blocks are in my mind so that I can collaborate better with other people. And perhaps that, I mean, we'll bring on Leslie McEwen to talk about how we can probably work through some of these blocks. Because if a block is there, we can't ignore it. We have to figure out what is the block if we do want to get better. So, hey, I'm going to tune in.
Yeah, this is why I put your contact information in the lower third so people can come after you directly.
Hey, see me in the Discord. Join the Discord. And we'll
Discord group. All right, good stuff. Take care, my man. We'll chat. All right, people. So let's get back to our conversation topic. Man, you people were on fire today. I'm telling you, we haven't finished yet, though, folks. More comments coming in. Not Mignon Cam. Dr. Tachi says, check out Boss, BOSS, moves from Myron Golden. Also, Mignon Cam says, the book, Pay Yourself First, The African American Guide to Financial Success and Security, is from 2001. And Minnie also says, I tell nonprofits all the time, they are horrible, and they pay me an honorarium for my feedback. They do? That's an interesting moneymaker. All right. This is good. This is good. All right. Let's continue on the conversation a bit. I'm going to put up a question on the screen. Would love to get your feedback. So here's another question for everybody in regards to this topic. And yes, I would like to have some of you on with Ryan chatting about this conversation topic. But here we go. We've got a question here that I'm going to put up on the screen. I put it all in your comment section, but I'm also going to put it up on the screen. So let's have it here. I'm going to put it up. So let's chat it here. So how can education be leveraged to promote self-determination? Is it something that needs to be done? Does it start at the home? Should it also be part of school education? What are your thoughts? How can education be leveraged to promote self-determination? Ryan did mention in his comments that he doesn't know of any Black schools. I know there's an Afrocentric school here in the Toronto area, but I'm not too familiar of anything else, and I don't know what the curriculum is. And actually, if they did try to teach self-determination, it actually operates under the Toronto District School Board. So would they have clearance to talk about self-determination there? And that's the thing. And in the United States, actually, Dr. Tachi is here. You went to Howard University. Did they ever provide education about self-determination? I'd like to know that. You're a Howard graduate. Did they ever talk about self-determination when you were in Howard University, which is a historically Black college and university? So I'd like to know about that. So yeah, great conversation as always this morning, people. Great as always. So any other comments people have on this? Would love to know. And also, would you be willing to join the conversation at a round table? Because obviously there's people got some strong comments and opinions on this. Would love to know what you have to say. And if not, we can start winding it down for the day. As I said, coming up on Friday on the Morning Vibe, Mignon Cam, who is here, is going to be talking about generating income when you're receiving government assistance when you have a disability. That's at 9 o'clock. And then the Dr. Vibe show at 11 o'clock, tentatively on Friday. We'll have Kamal Kara, Minister of Disability, People with Disability and Diversity, talking about the new anti-racism policy that the Liberal government, federal Liberal government has launched. Anything else from anyone today? We can start winding it down. It's totally up to you. Totally up to you. You guys are steering the ship today. You family, okay. Oh, so Minnie says financial assistance to financial independence. Okay, there she goes. Financial assistance to financial independence. That's what she's going to be talking about. All right, I got clarity on that now. All right, good stuff. Anybody else? What else are we going to chat about? Do you feel that self-dependence for our people or people who look like us, is it possible? Is it possible? Let's even start there. And do we have the equipment to do it? Would love to get your feedback. Now, it's quiet right now. Are people typing on their keyboards, or should I assume we're done for today? I'd like to know. But you family, don't worry. Ryan will be back. But I'd like to get some of you on, as I said earlier on. Let's have a roundtable conversation about this. It was really strong today. Great way to start off a Monday, by the way. Anybody else have anything to say? I'll give another short moment. If not, we will wind it down for this episode of the Morning Vibe. Anybody else? Dr. Tachi, are you still with us? I'd love to get your take. Was any education about self-determination ever taught to you while you were at Howard? Or do you know if it's taught in any of the HBCUs? Because some people would say, how can it be taught at HBCUs when a lot of the funding comes from non-melanated donors? Good question. Good question. Got to pat myself on the back for that question. All right. Wayne Harris is in the house. A Black nonprofit scoring system based on government's best practices. I agree with that. We have an open criteria that aligns with the best organizations, and we rate them. The best get funds, the worst get help or die. All right. Good suggestion. Thank you, Wayne. Dr. Tachi says, not necessarily in my program. That wasn't the focus. Okay. Fully agree. Fully agree. Yeah, Wayne, I love your comment. I think there needs to be a scoring system because I do feel that the current system for Black nonprofits, especially when it comes to government funding, this is just my lens, is not working. And I have experience because a number of years ago, I worked at a Black run, not for profit. It wasn't a positive experience. And it was disappointing. They're still running, but it's inch by inch proposition. So yeah, there needs to be, and I think there a lot of things. I'm just talking from the Canadian perspective. I think the government needs to be better at this. I think that the Black nonprofits need to be better at this, need to be better run. As I suggest, when it comes to the nonprofits, they have to respond or have to act like they're a for-profit business. The only thing different, okay. So yes, Ryan says, sorry, it was Morehouse at what? Yeah, it was Morehouse that Robert E. F. Smith donated to. You didn't talk about his donation. You just talked about how it was Morehouse where he paid all the remaining tuition for a number of students that were graduating that year. 100%. Minion Cam says it depends on the courses you pick from George Brown College. They've created a lot of anti-oppression awareness courses that integrates with their program or electives. Okay. Yeah, and I guess the thing is, do we have enough of the people who are making a lot of significant money who look like us helping us in the whole area of self-determination? Is it something they should be doing? Is it their responsibility to help the majority of melanated people at least get education on self-determination? Is it their role? Like, I know people like Wayne Harris, Roger Dundas, Ray McMillan, who are taking their time to educate about self-determination. And we always have to realize we can put it out there. What people do with it is another story. So is it the responsibility of those who are doing well, who look like us, to educate us on how to get to where they're getting, or where they are right now? That's a better way. Is it their responsibility? Should they? It's a decision they have to make, but do you think they should be doing it? Just a thought. All right. We will close it out today because I don't see any more comments coming in, which means y'all had enough. And we'll start shutting it down. All right. Well, I want to say thank you to everybody for chiming in today. And yeah, I'm putting it out there. We're going to continue this topic, but we'd like to have some other people on other than myself and Ryan doing this one. So you know how to get a hold of me. I'm going to put it up in just a few minutes. But as always, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. We're getting close to 1,500 subscribers. I think we're about 30 away. If you're up for it, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification button. Tell other people about it and see if they want to subscribe. Like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram to advertise your business, product, or service on the platform or any of my platforms that I'm part of. Email me, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Also, join the Morning Vibe Discord group. I think we're going to continue this offline. Email me, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. So a few last things. This is how you can get a hold of Ryan. Put it on the screen. This is how you can get a hold of me. And at the bottom here is where you can watch repeats of the show, the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and Facebook, Afro Caribbean Business Network, Facebook and YouTube, Ryan Oneil Knight, YouTube and LinkedIn. So anyone else have any final comments? We're looking forward to another great week. Again, as told you what's going on Friday, and always follow us in between. I'm putting Ryan's contact information on all the platforms. So if you want to contact him directly, because I have a feeling some of you may want to touch base with him directly on this. And I'm just going to put mine on here. So let me just do that. Okay, that's done. Okay, did we have any more comments? I think we are done. All right. So this is how we're going to end it. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And just don't manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourselves grace. God bless. Peace to you well. Keep the faith and walk good. Let's keep it going. Share out the conversation. Let's get people to support. We got one more. Okay. Actually, we got some more. Wayne has active versus passive learning. With Google and YouTube, no one should have to show us which books and courses. Agreed. We have the ability to do our own research. 100%, Wayne. Fully agree on that. Fully agree on that. And then franchises win big time versus startups. Okay. So you're agreeing with Ryan on that about the franchisees win big time versus startups. Okay, I think, well, Ray McMillan, I think, had a different comment on that, but that's good to hear. So again, let's bring up that conversation. Gentlemen and ladies, please volunteer to come on the show. We want to continue this conversation. God bless, peace be well, keep the faith, walk good, and remember to give yourself grace.